Hi, everybody. Matt Bernier, joined by Woodbine analyst Jeff Bratt, taking a look at the Woodbine play today for Saturday, July the 28th. Race number 8. There's a couple of graded stakes, or a couple of stakes races anyway, on the card Saturday. We're going to take a look at the 8th race. This is the Toronto Cup. Mile and an eighth for 3-year-olds on the turf course. Jeff, you've got a little bit of everything. You got 3 horses exiting the Queen's Plate. Mark Casse has 3 of the 8 horses in here. You going to go with one of the Casse runners?
I am going to go with one of the Casse horses. And what's interesting about this race every year is you get the American breds taking on the Canadian breds. And now with Wonder Godot's likely not coming to the Breeders' Stakes, for all these Canadian breds is a stepping stone towards the Breeders' Stakes for the third and final jewel of Canada's Triple Crown. And now with the big filly not going into the race, that starting gate might be a rather big place coming up in the not too distant future for the Breeders' Stakes. But I am going to go towards Casse horse in this race. And I like March to Arch. You look back at the last race, really thorough victory. The race prior to that lost to Cooler Mike, who has come back to run well in a couple of the Triple Crown races here in Canada. You look back at the race at Gulfstream Park back on April the 20th was a disappointment on that day, but the race at Tampa prior to that, really, really good performance. So I think that March the Arch obviously is one that can handle the grass. I am going to go in this one's direction. Had a really bad trip first time out here at Woodbine back on May the 20th as well. So I do like this one's chances. I know that you like another Casse horse in this race, but I think we should talk a little bit about Okratos in here because, this guy was going smooth sailing prior to the race in the Ohio Derby. His turf races are a little leave a little bit to be desired here in this race, but do you think he can possibly bounce back in this event?
Well, that was my only real question with a horse like this is, we've seen so often, I think everyone just immediately assumes if you can handle turf, you can handle synth and vice versa. But we've seen so many instances where certain horses, for one reason or another, are just so far superior on one surface as opposed to the other. And to me, I think it's too early to totally write off Okratos as a turf horse, but I mean, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that his synthetic form is significantly better than his turf form. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. And things did not go well in the Ohio Derby. I mean, I know the start was not good, but that's one thing. I mean, he just got completely outrun there too. He's kind of it's either like a home run or it's a strikeout with this guy. There's no in between. He either runs absolutely huge or he just doesn't show up at all. I think there's some significant pace in this race, too. So I think if you like the closer in this race, Matt, you've got a shot to do some damage in this race.
Yeah, and I do. I like one of the other Casse runners in here. And I have to be honest, I was torn between the 2 Chiefswood stable runners because I've been a big fan of Rose's Vision for a long time. But I do think there's a scenario where Rose's Vision goes off favored in this spot. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I really need this horse at 2-1 or somewhere in that vicinity. I'm a little bit more interested in Nipawa, and I'm going to be curious to hear what your thoughts are. This is a horse, one of them that exits the Queen's Plate, one of the trio in here for Casse, but I really liked that form that he was keeping down at Gulfstream Park over the winter, and I understand maybe he didn't win many races, and he's only 1 for 9 overall. But you see names like Maraud and Speed Franco and Therapist in his running lines. Those are pretty solid 3-year-olds. They may not be superstars, but they're decent enough runners. And I wonder if just finally getting back to the turf is what a horse like this is going to want. And you see, he's got those mid-80 buyers. And I think, honestly, that puts him right there in the thick of things, and which should be a decent number.
No, I agree. He's had some tough trips, especially at Gulfstream Park as well. I know over the wintertime I subscribed to the Clocker Reports via the Daily Racing Form, and this horse just must scratch Clocker's heads because always works really, really well. And then come race time, find some sort of trouble in here. So, you know what? You might be onto something in here. And you look back at the last race in the Queen's Plate. I'm just drawing a line through this. This was a horse that was chasing the pace that was just way too fast in that race, too. So just draw a line through that last event. I don't think we've seen Nipawa as of yet. And I'm not going to talk you off of Scat Daddy, that's for sure.
We got a couple of prices in here for Mark Casse. Jeff and I are going to go with the 5 and the 6 horses in race number 8, the Toronto Cup on Saturday at Woodbine. Jeff's on the number 5, March to the Arch. He's 8-1 on the morning line with Boulanger aboard. I'm going to go with the number 6, Nipawa with Lermite aboard at odds of 6-1. Again, race number 8, it is the Saturday Woodbine play of the day. The Toronto Cup scheduled post time is 4:47 Eastern. Best of luck.